Okay, here we go, the hurdle assignment. It's a little difficult, so I thought I'd make a video of it. First of all, you have to make sure that you include your grid.h, and of course over here under your header files, you have to make sure you add an existing item and make sure you put your grid.cpp and your grid.h in the current folder you're working in, and you can actually include those. They show up like this. And then add a new source file, and I call mine hurdles, and I put in all the normal stuff that we normally do. Once again, make sure you include your grid. You have to have these 4 rows in here to get this north, south, east, west thing to work in your constructor. And then, yeah, here we go. Let's see. I actually took and I pasted all of my roadmap stuff in here. I've got a Word document I worked on. You don't have to do this, but you can. I took and I put the matrix up here so I can look at it and see what it is. The constructor for the matrix that actually creates this grid, okay, it looks like this. It's grid int rows, int columns, int start row, int start column, int direction, okay. And so I got to take and I got to cipher this and say, well, how's that going to fit into here? To create this matrix, it's 4 tall by 23 wide, and we start right here. That's where your little man is, and that's actually 0, 1, 2. Okay, so it's the second row. It starts with 0. Make sure you start from 0 with 0. Okay, and then the column, of course, 0. And it talks about placing these little blocks. The code actually calls, or excuse me, a hurdle. The code calls them a block. And so you're going to be using this method to create these. We have to say, well, let's see, where's the first hurdle? 0, 1, 2. It's in the second row. 0, 1, 2, 3. So it's in the second row in the third column. And that's where the other ones are. So make yourself a little roadmap like that. And then to print it, we use this method. And to move it, turn left, turn right. Okay, we use these methods. I just wrote them in there so you can see them. If you didn't we created this turn right method in class. If you didn't turn it, you actually have to turn 3 times. You have to turn left 3 times to actually get the result of a right. Okay, and then we got to make a little map. And we have to say, well, where do we have to go? Let me see if I can get this at the top. There we go. We're going to move 1, 2 spaces in. So we have to move 2. We have to turn left, and then we have to go 1 space up, so we have to move 1. And then we're going to turn right, and we have to move 1, 2 spaces. And then we have to turn right again. We move 1 space. Anyway, you just take and make yourself a little road map for all these. And you notice you actually have to do this 5 times. When you get to this point, it's almost like a loop. You have to do this again, you have to do this again, and except for the last time, you only move 1 space rather than 2 spaces to get your little man to stop right. I don't show it, but it's supposed to stop right here. You only move 1 space. You don't have to make a Word document if you don't want to. You can actually take and put them all right in Visual Studio and use them as remarks so you can take and utilize these right here. And first of all, what you do to create your matrix, you use your grid class, okay, to create a new object like that. And the parameters are, let's see, the first one is how tall is it, okay, a 4. How many rows, how many columns is 23. I start in row 2, and then it's column 0 I start in, and I go east like that, semicolon. Okay, that's why you have to have this east, west, north, south, because it actually takes the word east and it turns it into a 1. And then we have to create our hurdles. You say, well, let's see, how do I create a block? We can actually go to our grid.h file. So how do we create a block? Okay, a block right here, just the word block, and it's the row and the column. Okay, block. Let's see, my first one is at 2, 3. semicolon. And of course you create other, oops, I got to put in my grid, don't I? My grid. So it knows which object to put the block in. Okay, like that. And then you have to create, of course, an additional line for each one of these, okay, with the different parameters. There we go. We have to print out our, it's called display, okay, so you say my grid dot display. You have to display it in the original version, okay, with all the blocks in it. Don't forget additional blocks here. Let me make you a little comment here. Like that, okay. There we go. And now I have to move 2 spaces. My grid there, dot move, and I say move it 2 spaces, semicolon, like that. There, now I'm going to turn left. My grid dot turn, whoops, turn left. No parameters for that one. If you're unsure how to do these, just look in your .h and it'll show you what the parameters are and if it returns something. And then we're going to move my grid dot move. And this time we're going to move 1 space, semicolon. And you keep working through all these. My grid dot turn right, no parameters, and then move again. My grid dot move, and this time I have to move. It's really easy once you get all your road mapping in, just to knock this right out like this. My grid dot turn right, and my grid dot move 1 space, like that. My grid dot turn left, and then my grid dot move 2 spaces. And then once again, you have to copy this section here. You have to make it, do it 5 times. So I'm just going to copy this like here, Control C, stick it right here. I got it in once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and 5 times. And as you can see, the last time I only want to move it once. I just about gave you the whole program, didn't I? And you need to display your result. My grid dot display. Oh, that's all I'm going to tell you.